Okay, let's get straight to it. We're going to cover the facts of menstruation, the stuff you probably weren't taught or were taught incorrectly. This is just a straightforward biological look at the process. No myths, just the facts.
So, let's start right there. What weren't you taught? Because chances are, a lot of what people think they know is based on cultural myths, not actual science. We're here to clear that up. Let's start with the absolute basics.
First up, the biological basics. We're going to start with the simple numbers and the anatomy that you need to know. First, how long does it last? Well, the actual bleeding part of a menstrual cycle typically goes for anywhere from 3 to 7 days. That's the normal window. Next up, volume. How much blood are we actually talking about here? Over that whole time, the total amount is usually between 30 and 80 milliliters. Now, to put that in perspective for you, a standard shot glass is about 44 milliliters, so we're looking at roughly 1 to 2 shot glasses of fluid spread out over several days. It's a lot less than most people imagine. Okay, this is a fundamental piece of anatomy that gets confused all the time. Urination and menstruation happen from two completely different openings. Urine comes from the urethra, menstrual fluid comes from the vagina. It's a simple but really crucial biological fact. All right, section 2, myth versus reality. Now we're going to dive into some of the most common misconceptions out there and just replace them with the actual facts.
You've probably heard some version of this one before. This idea that menstrual blood is somehow dirty or impure or unhygienic.
Yeah, that's completely false. The fact is, it is the exact same blood that circulates through the rest of the body. The whole process is just a normal, healthy biological function. This idea of it being impure is purely a cultural myth. It has zero basis in science. Here's another really common misconception. The idea that someone can just control the flow, like they can with urination. The reality? The bleeding is completely involuntary. It happens gradually, kind of drop by drop, over the entire time. Unlike urinating, there's no muscle you can clench to just hold it in. It doesn't work that way. The magic number, right? 28 days. You've probably heard that number thrown around like the whole thing runs like a Swiss watch. In reality, 28 days is just an average. The actual length of a cycle can vary a lot. It's a really sensitive biological rhythm, and it can be affected by all kinds of things, like stress, what you eat, your sleep, even travel. What's regular is different for every single person. This one is a common and, honestly, a pretty damaging myth. The idea that the hormonal changes during a cycle cause a total loss of rational thought or control. So let's be really clear about what hormones do and what they don't do. Can hormonal shifts influence emotions and maybe lead to mood swings? Yes. But what they don't do is reduce a person's intelligence or their fundamental control over their own actions. Okay, next section, the physical experience. It's really important to get that the pain that can come with menstruation isn't in someone's head. It has a very direct biological cause. So the experience is often way more than just bleeding. See, to shed its lining, the uterus, which is a muscle, has to contract. Those contractions, plus the hormone shifts, can cause a whole range of physical symptoms. We're talking cramps, nausea, headaches, back pain, even diarrhea. And just to give you some perspective on how severe this can get, research has actually described the intensity of severe menstrual cramps as being comparable to the pain from a mild heart attack. Now, a lot of people experience very little pain, but this comparison shows just how physiologically real and intense it can be for some. All right, last section. Let's cover some practical, need-to-know information about sex, pregnancy, and the products involved. Let's just be direct here. First, yes, you can have sex during a period. Second, and this is a big one, yes, it is still possible to get pregnant. So if that's something you want to avoid, you still need to take precautions. So, what are sanitary pads? They're simply absorbent items that are worn in underwear to collect the fluid. And a key point, they are not diapers. The different sizes you see aren't about the body size of the person, they're about the amount of flow, whether it's light or heavy. And if you see a pad with wings, it's super simple. You just place the sticky side on the underwear, and then you fold the wings underneath and stick them to the fabric. That's it. It just holds it in place. And one last fact that a lot of people don't know, menstruation actually stops during pregnancy, but after a baby is born, a different kind of bleeding happens, and it can sometimes last for up to 6 weeks. So, there you have it. We've taken some common myths and replaced them with the actual biological facts. And that leads to a final question I'll leave you with. Now that you know all this, what else do you only think you know? It's always a good idea to question your assumptions and go find the simple, factual truth.